It's March 20th, 2010. We're in Oklahoma City for the second round of the NCAA men's basketball tournament, and what is going on here? As the clock ticks below 40 seconds, tournament favorite Kansas is down 1 point against the 9-seed University of Northern Iowa, not even regular Iowa. UNI has the ball, and, where is everyone? This is all mystifying. We need to rewind. This video is presented by Sam Adams American Light, the most premium light beer. Upsets are in the air this weekend. Already today, number 10 St. Mary's took down 2-seeded Villanova, and 11-seed Washington is crushing 3-seed New Mexico. But if this score holds, that would be something else entirely, upset-wise. This number 1 understates just how favored Kansas was tonight and in this whole tournament. Kansas won it all just 2 years ago. They sent a huge chunk of that team to the 2008 NBA draft, which left the Jayhawks in a bit of a rebuilding spot last season. Kansas got upset in the Big 12 Conference tournament and fell well short of defending their national title. The rebuilding gap year paid off though, because good lord are they stacked now. At least 2 Jayhawks, Sherron Collins and Cole Aldrich, could have been NBA draft picks last summer, but both decided to come back to school. Kansas retained some terrific rising sophomores, Tyshawn Taylor and the Morris twins, Markieff and Marcus. And they added multiple top recruits while a promising transfer became eligible. This is a ridiculously talented basketball team, now and for the foreseeable future, right up there with the 2008 champions. And all the preseason discourse reflected that. Kansas received a near unanimous number 1 ranking. They were the team to beat, according to ESPN. A few months later, with a 32-2 record and breezy conference tournament win in their wake, the Jayhawks earned the number 1 overall seed in March Madness. Betting odds painted them as the clear favorite to win it all again. They remain the team to beat. And, they look like a team very much at risk of getting beat right now. Actually, the fact that they're only down 1 point represents a massive momentum shift toward Kansas. Understanding that shift will help us understand why it looks like there's no one on the court right now. Wind the tape back a few frames and you'll see Kansas very nearly stealing this pass with super aggressive backcourt defense. That is a recent development and a twist away from this game's original story. To the extent that anyone bothered to scout the University of Northern Iowa before this tournament, here's what they found. Head coach Ben Jacobson runs a very slow, very scripted offense. Often, that offense funnels toward the middle. 7'1", 280-pound, all-conference center Jordan Eggleseder. Big ol' Iowan fella. Eggleseder's prominence gave this game against Kansas an obvious headline matchup. The Battle of the Bigs. Eggleseder versus All-American Kansas center Cole Aldrich. Those two actually faced off years ago, though only one of them claims to remember it. Anyway, that matchup defined the first half, in favor of UNI. Aldrich was the only thing Kansas had going offensively, as the Jayhawk guards struggled severely against a UNI defense packing the paint. Eggleseder surprised the Jayhawks by stepping out and hitting a couple threes. Northern Iowa led by 8 at half and held their ground to open this second half. But then, a fascinating turn of events. With 9 minutes to go and Kansas still down 9 points, Aldrich went up for a rebound and came down awkwardly. You could hear his pained holler on the broadcast.
Tonight, Collins doubled. Aldrich tries to save it.
Aldrich had to sit, Kansas had to play small, and UNI felt compelled to bench Eggleseder in response. Except for a very brief stretch of Aldrich testing his injured foot, the star centers have sat almost the entire last 9 minutes, totally shifting the style of play. Kansas had already begun a desperate full-court press before Aldrich got hurt, but once he sat, they really ramped it up. Almost immediately, Kansas went on a run, forcing tons of panicked backcourt turnovers and finishing around the basket to all but erase that UNI lead. These last 9 minutes had all the trappings of that typical tournament game where a Cinderella threatens a historic upset, only for the better, more mature team to right the ship and evade disaster before it's too late. It could still end that way. But this time, just the once, just now, Those pressing Jayhawks couldn't make the backcourt steal. UNI escaped the trap, leaving one guy basically alone to run some clock and leave Kansas as little time as possible. But is he actually going to run clock? He's not going to shoot, is he? Who is this kid? Okay, I'm not going to make you sit through the rabbit hole I went down studying 20th century Iranian history, but I want you to know I did that research because it does apply to this moment. Look over here in the crowd. This wonderfully mustachioed man is Dr. Ali Farokhmanesh. People call him Farokh. He is a prominent figure in Iranian volleyball, both playing and coaching. In the late 1970s, Farokh emigrated from Iran to the United States to get postgraduate degrees in physical education. While Iran went through its revolution of 1979, Farokh stayed in the US to coach volleyball. And I believe he just missed being teammates with Wilt Chamberlain on a pro volleyball team. Anyway, in the early 80s, Farokh met Coach Cindy Frederick at a volleyball camp in Iowa, then became her husband and her assistant as she broke into the D1 coaching ranks, first at Weber State in Utah, then at Washington State. Their son, Ali, born in 1988, preferred basketball to volleyball. When the family moved back to Iowa, he distinguished himself as one of the best high school players in the state. Unfortunately, college coaches didn't see high-level potential in a 5'11 guard who wasn't even very quick. That includes his current coach. And that includes the coach at the University of Iowa where his mom worked. Family ties couldn't even get him a walk-on spot. Not interested. So, Ali Farokhmanesh kept playing ball in community college, and he flourished. As a sophomore, his point guard skills and unbelievable accuracy from downtown earned him recognition as one of the best JUCO players in the nation, with some absurd shooting numbers. That is when the D1 offers rolled in. The UNI Panthers, regretting their prior assessment and beset by backcourt injuries, brought Farokhmanesh on as a transfer last season. Immediately, Farokhmanesh became UNI's starting point guard, and immediately he became one of the highest volume three-point shooters in the Missouri Valley Conference. And things have gone well for the Panthers. Last year, they won the MVC and made their first big dance of Coach Ben Jacobson's tenure. This year, they did it all again, and more. Some important context here before we go further. Before this week, UNI had won exactly one NCAA tournament game. It was back in 1990 when Maurice Newby hit this legendary, highly contested buzzer beater to complete a 14-3 upset against Mizzou.
Able to get inside. Oh, Newby.
By the way, for the real sickos out there, somewhere on this ecstatic bench is Nick Nurse, a former sharpshooting UNI star just like Ali, who went on to become a Panthers assistant and currently coaches the Iowa Energy of the NBA D-League. And more context, UNI entered this 2010 tournament a 9 seed, their highest seeding ever, but they actually took that as a slight. They think they're better than that and may have been ranked accordingly if they didn't play a chunk of their schedule without Eggleseder and suffer some rough late season losses. Either way, they got themselves a round 1 matchup against UNLV. Farokhmanesh came out firing, which is what he does. Don't let UNI's slow pace and long playbook fool you. Coach Jacobson gives these guys a green light, and Ali uses it more than anyone. Farokhmanesh took 9 threes against UNLV, the last of which was this heavily contested game winner in the clutch. This was like exactly the same spot as Maurice Newby's game winner 20 years earlier, almost to the day. For a while, today looked different. UNI has led most of the game, yes, but not because of Ali. For the first 10 plus minutes of this game, Farokhmanesh didn't even take a shot. Then, beginning with this deep bomb, he rattled off a torrent of jumpers, and then he went silent again while Kansas trapped their way back into contention. At the moment, Farokhmanesh is 3 for 9 from downtown. He has been bold for parts of this game, but not consistently so, especially since the Kansas press jacked up UNI's game plan. But, right now, the ball is in his hands. Ali gets to decide whether to run clock for the best and latest possible shot, or to exploit that perpetual green light and shoot for the upset-clinching dagger right here, right now, orthodoxy be damned. So many things had to fall into place to make this moment possible for Ali, beginning with the unique familial history that brought him into existence and then to the state of Iowa. The mighty Kansas Jayhawks faced a huge deficit, but came roaring back after their star center went down with an injury. With a stop and a bucket, they could avoid the upset, and they just missed getting that stop mere seconds ago. The underdog UNI Panthers have already pushed boundaries by even advancing this far. Hold this lead, and they'll make the first Sweet 16 in team history. In fact, it would be the first Sweet 16 for the whole Missouri Valley Conference since Larry Bird's Indiana State Sycamores reached the tournament final in 1979. So, what's it going to be, Ali? It's all on you right now. All that narrative sits on your shoulders. You going to play it safe, or are you going to let it fly? Welcome to a moment in history.
Farokhmanesh, a three. Good!
That will be the dagger, especially with this charge to deny a Kansas response. But let's watch Ali finish it off at the line.
Isn't this something? Point four. They do. On the first day of spring, number 1 has fallen.
Thanks for watching this episode of Rewinder. If you subscribe to Secret Base on Patreon, like all these fine people do, you can see bonus material related to this episode, plus so much more.